He opened the car door and froze. A small piece of paper fluttered on the windshield. It wasn't a parking ticket. It wasn't a complaint. It was something he never expected, and it shook him to his core. Mark had always been a quiet man, moving through life like a shadow in the background. Every morning, he drove his aging car to a small office where he worked long hours doing mundane tasks. He wasn't unhappy, exactly, but he carried a quiet heaviness in his chest, a feeling that no matter how hard he tried, the world often overlooked him. His colleagues barely noticed him. At the office, he would offer help on projects, only to hear a distracted "thanks" muttered without looking up. Even his neighbors treated him like a ghost, nodding politely but never lingering for conversation. Every evening, he returned to his small apartment, a space filled with neat stacks of books and untouched dreams. The walls echoed the quiet of his solitude, and though he tried to convince himself that he was fine, a hollow ache followed him everywhere. Mark's car had become more than just a means of transport. It was his sanctuary. In the mornings, he would sit behind the wheel for a few minutes, clutching the steering wheel, savoring the silence before the chaos of the day. That silence was the only time he felt truly seen, even if it was only by himself. This particular morning was colder than usual. The sky was gray, clouds pressed low against the city, and a gentle drizzle blurred the edges of the streets. Mark trudged across the parking lot, umbrella clutched in one hand, coffee in the other. When he reached his car, he noticed something pinned under the wiper, a small piece of folded paper. Curiosity and a faint unease twisted in his stomach as he carefully picked it up. The handwriting was neat, almost elegant. His heart skipped a beat. Whoever had left it had taken time to write, to fold it, and to place it here with care. He unfolded the note slowly, as though expecting it to vanish if he moved too quickly. Some days it feels like the world doesn't see you, but someone does. Keep going. You are not invisible. Mark blinked. He held the note with trembling hands. The words were simple, but they struck a chord deep inside him. A chord he didn't realize had been frayed by years of quiet loneliness. He looked around the parking lot, but no one was there. Whoever had written this had vanished, leaving only these few words. For the first time in years, Mark felt a flicker of warmth, a small ember of hope that maybe, just maybe, he mattered. He tucked the note into his pocket, feeling it press against his heart like a fragile promise. Despite the comforting words, Mark's life hadn't changed overnight. The office continued to be a place where he felt invisible, his suggestions ignored, his presence unnoticed. His co-workers chatted freely over lunch, laughter ringing out, while he sat quietly, nibbling on a sandwich, feeling like a shadow at the edge of the room. Some days were harder than others. A particularly cruel colleague once whispered that Mark shouldn't waste time trying to fit in, smirking as he passed. It was the kind of remark that cut deeper than any overt insult, because it came with the sting of truth, or at least the perception of truth. Mark tried to shrug it off, to tell himself that it didn't matter, but he felt the weight of isolation pressing down, making it harder to breathe. Even in small interactions outside work, he often encountered indifference. The barista at the coffee shop forgot his name again. A neighbor waved perfunctorily but hurried past without a word. Even strangers on the street seemed to move in waves around him, unaware of the small, quiet person trying to navigate their world. One rainy afternoon, Mark had stayed late at the office to finish a report. As he trudged to his car, soaked and tired, he noticed a group of people laughing and chatting nearby. Their joy seemed to mock his own loneliness. He reached his car, and his hands shook, not from the cold, but from the crushing sense of being unseen. It was then that he remembered the note from earlier that week. He pulled it from his pocket, unfolding it again. The words seemed to shimmer in the gray light. "You are not invisible." He clutched the paper, tears mingling with the drizzle on his cheeks. The world felt heavy, indifferent, and cruel. He longed for someone, anyone, to acknowledge him, to see him not as a shadow or a background figure, but as a person worthy of attention and kindness. Mark sat in his car for a long time, staring at the dashboard. His loneliness pressed in from every side. But somewhere, deep down, the note's words refused to leave him. It was a small spark in the darkness, fragile but persistent, whispering that maybe, just maybe, someone in the next morning. Mark left his apartment with a lingering sense of unease. The sky was gray again, drizzle threatening. But there was a different feeling in his chest. A quiet anticipation, a faint hope. When he reached his car, he noticed another note under the wiper. His hands trembled as he unfolded it. I see you. Not just your work, not just your quietness. You matter. Mark's eyes widened. The handwriting was familiar but impossible. He turned slowly, scanning the parking lot. Standing a few feet away was a young woman, holding her own umbrella. She smiled shyly at him, and for a moment, time seemed to slow. It was his new neighbor, Emily, the woman who had just moved into the building a few weeks ago. He had seen her around, but they had never spoken. She had noticed him, noticed the way he carried himself quietly, the kindness in his small gestures, the loneliness that often weighed on him. She had taken the time to reach out in the only way she knew he might see, through a note. Mark felt something in his chest swell, joy, relief, a profound sense of connection. He walked toward her, unsure what to say at first. Thank you, he finally whispered. Emily smiled, a little embarrassed, a little proud. You don't have to thank me, she said. I just wanted you to know that someone sees you. That's all. Mark nodded, feeling the tears well up again. But this time, they were tears of happiness, not sadness. For the first time in years, he felt truly seen, truly acknowledged. The weight of isolation lifted, replaced by a warmth that spread through him like sunlight breaking through clouds. Over the following days, Mark and Emily spoke more often. She introduced him to her friends, invited him to small gatherings, and slowly, Mark began to feel a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced in years. That simple note, an act of quiet kindness, had broken the walls around his heart, showing him that even in a world that sometimes feels indifferent, there are always those willing to see, to care, to reach out. Mark never forgot those notes. He kept them tucked safely in his car, a reminder that kindness can arrive when you least expect it, and that the smallest gestures can change a life forever. World truly cared. A single act of kindness can pierce the darkest loneliness. A few words can remind someone they are seen, they matter. We often underestimate the power of noticing. A small gesture may change a life in ways we cannot imagine. Kindness is never wasted. It always finds its way home.